Hey guys, if you don't know who I am, I'm Savia Rocks, and I help people tell their stories, stay inspired, and get educated as they find the pride of who they are within creativity, but most of all, without judgment. Join us as we talk about
you really want to leave a legacy, do something for mankind. Do something that's going to benefit not just your children, everyone else's children.
I think our job as humans is to become the person we were born and peel away the cultural stuff that was given to us, the trauma, like peel away the stuff that changed us or that was thrown on us or made us small or made us go off track.
The biggest thing I've always found is when people think they know so much, then they start knowing so little.
And I'm making the right choice, and I'm showing up for myself, and I'm showing up for what matters in life.
Sometimes I think that trauma doesn't always have to be a bad thing. I think trauma can help you make choices in your life that turn something that started bad into something beautiful. So guys, welcome to season 7 of the Us People podcast with Savia Rocks.
Hi everybody, my name's Chris Barnett. Get registered for Barnett. I'm a composer, I do film and TV, and you're listening to the Us People podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Us People podcast. I'm your host Savia Rocks, and today I am humbled to have Chris here with me. Chris is a composer and works within film. Chris, I want to thank you so much for taking your time to come on the Us People podcast. How are you?
Well, it's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, Savia, and I'm very well. Thank you. Yeah, very well.
Awesome. So my first question for you, Chris, is could you tell me a bit about yourself, where you grew up, but also how that influenced you to be the person who you are today?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Well, so I come from Jamaican heritage, Jamaican family. I'm the first generation born in England, and I guess everything is down to my family, where in terms of my upbringing and personality, and even going into the career that I'm in, music and working in film and what have you. But my family, like many Jamaican families, when they came here in the 50s and 60s, very much into music and film actually. And my earliest memories are of going to parties, being at parties, drinking Baby Sham.
Oh wow, I
at 5
remember
years
that.
old.
Yeah.
yeah. And cherry, is it cherry something? Oh, it's called these small little bottles. And just remembering music, remembering music that was played at these parties, and it was all reggae at the time, reggae and what else would you call it? Kind of middle of the road, um, American music, that kind of thing. Mainly reggae. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, we would play records, almost daily, or the radio would be on. I have very fond memories of just listening to the radio, listening to the top 40 British charts and American charts and all these things. But it was really just background. It was just there, like air and water. It wasn't something I really focused on. And then I guess when I got into my teens, I discovered R&B, soul, jazz funk.
Yes.
It was the time of early hip hop, um, you know, and sort of R&B with Marvin Gaye, that kind of thing. And I took a keen interest in record collecting. So when I was, I think I was about 10 or 11, I went to New York um, for the first time and traveled around America. And I bought my first albums, which was George Benson, Give Me the Night.
Yes. Yep.
I bought some Tina Marie.
Ooh, that's a
And then
good album.
when I came, yeah, I'd never heard of. I mean, when I went to America, it's like discovering all this music that was just I didn't even knew existed, you know. And then when I got back, 14, 13, 14, and I started to collect records in earnest. And from 10 onwards, actually. First, it was 7 inches, and then it was, grew to 12 inches, and then albums themselves. Um, and I would make mixtapes for friends and what have you. And from there, I got into DJing. So me and a few friends would arrange these parties, and we'd sell tickets. By this time I had my DJing gear, two record decks, and my speakers that my husband made for me. Another Jamaican tradition, making speaker boxes, and we hustled, sold tickets and um, played music, and then shared the proceeds, and then that kind of moved from there into doing boat parties.
I like this.
You know, my mum would cook the food, and again, I'd sell tickets. So yeah, it was an interesting time. So that's my background into music. Even despite all that, it never occurred to me that being in music would be a career, and that people made money. Even though I could see all these brilliant artists and I was buying their records, and every time I go to the record shop, they say, "Oh, I've got this one for you, Chris. You'd like this," and all that kind of thing. But yeah, it just never occurred to me that working in music was a thing. So it wasn't until I actually started work, and then I s- came to surround myself with people who were actually doing that for a living, that I was able to then think, this is a thing. Maybe I should look into it a bit more and consider.
Yep.
Um, I do have to say, when I was collecting records, especially, I guess the George Benson "Give Me the Night" was the first one where I would study the cover
Yeah.
and see all these names: Quincy Jones, Rod Temperton, Bruce Sweetie, um, Paulino de Costa, Greg
Yes.
Gaines. And then as I started to collect more and more albums, I saw the same names. And because, I mean, with that George Benson album in particular, I was really enamored with the production, the recording, the instrumentation, the artistry in the singers, George Benson and Patty Austin, just incredible voices, you know, and I would listen really intently to each instrument. So I'd listen once, listen to the drums, listen again. Now I'm listening to the piano or the keyboard. Now I'm listening to the horn section. Now I'm listening to the strings, and without really understanding, I was kind of developing this interest by osmosis. So when I left school, I went into engineering. I got an apprenticeship as a trainee engineer, and did that for 4 years. And in my second year, I was stationed in an office, and the chap behind me was a singer, and he would go to the recording studios and he'd tell me all about it, and I was like, yeah, man, this is great. So I think we were 3 months together, and we were just like, really tight. So he kind of Thomas's name was Thomas Estery. He sparked the real interest then in me wanting to pursue that as maybe a record producer,
Yes.
something like that. So then I started to explore ways to get into studios and learn more about, what the instruments of the studio, the desk, the tape recorder, it was 6-inch tape in those days, um, and all these things. So it was a long, long journey,
A long,
if you like.
prosperous journey, I would say, Chris. It was a long, prosperous journey with different hurdles and curves and maneuvers
Lots of
that you had
hurdles,
to.
lots of curves.
Yeah, but you got there in the end, and you're still doing it. So
Yeah,
for me, that's a
yeah,
positive thing. That's an ambient
yeah.
positive
That's
thing.
a success. Yeah, yeah,
See? So my next
yeah.
question kind of tangles into a little bit of what we just spoke about. It goes into a little bit more depth, but who do you see when you look in the mirror? But on the flip side of that question, has there ever been a time where you have looked in the mirror, Chris, and not recognized the person staring back at you? How did you manage to go from a person that you believe that wasn't necessarily happy within the place that you were in to becoming the person that you felt had purpose in doing what you love and being the person that you wanted to visualize and see in the mirror?
Wow, that's a heavy one. Um, I can't say I've ever had a time when I looked in the person in the mirror and not recognized the person. Um, I come from a very strong family background. My mum was kind of like a matriarch. But we're not in age. We're not that far apart in age because she had me very young. But she always had very strong ambitions for me.
Yes.
And I can remember traipsing behind her in the market down Walthamstow Market, and she'd be stopping to speak to friends and every 5 minutes. And me, little me at 5, 6 years old, and they're talking about me, saying that yeah, he's going to be the first black prime minister, and all these
I
things.
like it.
So yeah, I mean, so there was always a sense that um, I wasn't going to be on the street with the hoodlums and doing stupidness. I always had something to do, and she educated me. She had me have private tuition from the age of 10
Wow.
onwards because I was failing at school. And I don't know if private tuition was even a thing back in those days, but she insisted on it, you know, even though it was a killer financially for the family. And so for me, there was always a sense of purpose, and it was just a matter of, okay, what is the purpose? What is it that I will do? When I left school, I had no clue what I wanted to do. Um, I had no clue what I could do. So I just took myself down to the careers office and saw an advert for trainee engineers, 4-year apprenticeship. So I applied, managed to get an interview. I, boned up on the interview technique and all that and spoke as well as I could. And out of, I think, 500 applicants, I was one of four.
Wow.
And I was the only black, the only black one as well. So, um, yeah, so that was it. And when I left school, I had to get a job, I had to do something. So yeah, there's always a sense of um, that drive and that purpose. What is it that I'm going to do? What is it that I need to do? And then once I'd started in engineering and realized that music was what I wanted to do, it was like, okay, well, how do I now pivot from music to engineering
Yes.
while still maintaining my responsibilities? The one thing about the engineering, which was really good, was that it helped me to help my mother buy a house. So,
I
I
like
helped
that.
her buy a house. So I was out of the estate. And then once I knew she was okay with that, then it was like, okay, now I can go back to square one
Yep.
and, go into music and do something for myself. So, um, yeah, I've just always had a goal. I think that's always been my thing. Always have a goal and always work towards that goal.
I think you've always had a focus. You seem like a really determined person. Relaxed, but at the same
Mm.
time determined in. And the best thing of all is when your parents invest in you. And I think when your mother decided to invest in you, you saw it as one of the best things. Most probably. I'm just saying, doesn't mean that I'm right, Chris, but I always feel when a parent invests in you, it gives you hope. It gives you purpose and it makes you see you're worth something. Because not every parent, and I know this just from hearing other stories, invest in their children. But for you, I feel like
Absolutely.
yeah, and I feel like it's a blessing to be able to do that. So for
Well,
you,
I mean, I mean, I can't say that whilst going through that, having to spend my summer holidays at school, my school summer holidays inside doing work, I
uh-huh.
can't say that I was, oh, this is a blessing.
I think back then we didn't
That's the
see it.
last,
Back
that was the
then when
last
we were
thing of my
young, because
life.
everyone's outside doing whatever they want. But I think
Exactly.
when we're inside and we're sacrificing, because believe me, I've done it too. When you're sacrificing and you're
Um,
songwriting for
yeah,
someone else, it's worth it
yeah.
in the end, but you don't see it in the beginning.
My mum was fierce. She's a Jamaican woman, strong Jamaican woman. So there was no, there was, you do it, or you know what's gonna happen to you. So
Get back inside. Yes. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
yeah,
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 I
yeah.
know.
So yeah, so that that's kind of my upbringing. But it's kind of running parallel to that was, we used to spend weekends at my granddad's house, and lots of big family, lots of chatter and this and that. And we used to sit and watch films every weekend, and so that was another part of my life which I didn't really think about. It was always there, but I just
Yeah.
never considered it. And you know, listening to the music, film music, and the scores, and the themes and all these things. And I mean, I only found out once I'd started on the road to being a film composer, then I found out that my granddad
Mm.
worked at the Ealing Studios in the 50s, 60s, and 70s as a carpenter. He was a set builder. So yeah, when we talk, he has stories of Yul Brynner and Robert Mitchum and
Mhm.
all these things. So it's like kind of strange how our lives have kind of gone that way,
Intertwined
without
in
me
some
really.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
See, this is what I
yeah.
like when it's funny because we always find out at some point that our grandparents or parents worked somewhere, and I feel like they manifest their energy into maybe what their grandkids or kids go ahead and do. It's a really spiritual thing, and maybe some may not understand it, but sometimes I feel like generations go into something not realizing that the next generation coming in will then go into something of a similar nature because
Mm.
maybe they enjoyed it, maybe they gave their energy to it, maybe they intertwined with it in some kind of way. So it is, and I've also been told that your destiny has already been written. Regardless of what you may think it is, it's already been written for you. So there's so many ways to define it, Chris. There are so many. So I think it's just
Yeah,
meant to be.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, speaking to him, I mean, for him, it was work, and it wasn't. I mean, there was a lot of work at that time, I guess, in the 60s. But there was also a lot of racism, and there was,
Yeah,
only certain jobs
yeah,
that black people could do.
yeah.
So for him, it was a job. It was a well-paid job, but it was a job, and he had to fight his corner at work many times. So yeah, it's all part of it. It's interesting that I just read an autobiography by what's his name? Darkest Breeze. Darkest Breeze used to be the head of Island Records,
Oh, yes.
and
Okay.
he's the son of Darkest Howe. And in his book, he speaks a lot about um, growing up in the 70s and the 80s and what it was like. I mean, his parents were on the front line fighting for rights,
Hmm.
but he also goes into the intimacies of the family life, the family background, and how turbulent that was, And yeah, I recognize it. The 70s was very tough for us, for a lot of us, and sadly, I can kind of see glimmers of that reoccurring now in the climate, that
Yeah, definitely.
in the current climate. But yeah, as I say, for him, my granddad, it was a job, and when we look at it from this side of life, looking back, it looks quite glamorous. Oh, the film business and all these actors and blah blah blah. But uh, you know, every day was a fight with something. So yeah.
I think it's the reality of it. I think it's like TV today. You see the glitz and the glamour of it in front, but when I interview so many artists, established, unestablished, it doesn't matter. One thing they all say in common is it's not glamorous. No one sees them on those dark, long nights when they are sad, depressed, when they don't want to do it anymore, and people just see the TV screen where people are laughing about what they've achieved and how they've done it, and it all looks really lovely. But that's not the truth at all.
100%.
Every single
Absolutely.
every single one of us who is creative goes down a path
Yeah.
of, I don't want to do this no more. It's frustrating me. It's frustrating me. Move the hell away from me. I'm not getting, the music or the wares, or I'm not composing it the way that I should be. We've all been there. So that's definitely something I know, and I'm sure you know as well, Chris. The next question I would love to ask you is, I always believe in life that everything starts off with a chance. And I know you spoke about your mother giving you a chance in the way that she educated you, the way that she had high expectations for you. But when you began within the music industry, is there anyone within the music industry that you believe gave you your first chance to shine and believed in you? Because I believe it's very important.
Absolutely. It's funny because there have been several people along the way, and I always liken it to, if you imagine you're on some kind of obstacle course, and you're at one point and you need to get to the next point, and there's this barrier,
Yes.
um, and then beyond that, you go a bit further, and there's another barrier, but you get to the first barrier and you think, oh my God, how am I going to get over this barrier? You know, I don't know. I don't even know what I don't know. I don't know what's beyond this, or that I don't know. And then someone comes along, whistling, whatever, and they say, "Oh yeah, I can help you," and they just help you over that obstacle, and then they kind of move on, and then you move to
Yes.
the next obstacle,
Yep.
and then someone else. And that's kind of been my life, really. I mean, I would say, um, getting into music, it was I once I started to show an interest in record producing or studio engineering.
Yes.
I don't know how she came to know, but we had a family friend, Jennifer Fletcher Sims, who was or is a fashion designer, and uh, this would be the early 80s now, I think, or late 80s, late 80s, I can't remember. And she she was making clothes for artists, singers, what have you, and she knew Michael Riley. Michael Riley was one of the lead singers of Steel Pulse,
Yes.
70s reggae band, and just through speaking to him, I managed to spend some time with him in studios while he was producing. At the time, he was running an outfit called the Reggae Philharmonic Orchestra, which was a small string body,
Yep.
and they would play for Soul to Soul and all these other recorded tracks. So through him, I got to spend time in the studio and learn how to we call tape operator.
Yes.
So you load the tape and all these things. So he was a big influence, I would say, even though my time with him was quite short-lived. Um, and then who? There's a chap called Michael Burnett who when I left engineering, I spent like 3 years doing adult education courses. So I did every course at Morley College, every music course. It was like a degree, and jazz piano, jazz orchestration,
I love that.
um, classical, harmony and counterpoint, all these different courses. And my tutor there was a chap called Roland Perrin, who's a jazz pianist, wonderful jazz pianist. And funny enough, I actually work with him now. But he was very instrumental, very encouraging. And through his encouragement, I managed to start applying for universities. Um, had some trouble getting into a university at first. It took me 2 years to get into a university. Um, when I finally applied to Roehampton. I applied twice over 2 years, and in the first year, um, I didn't get a place. Um, everything that I'd done up to that point was fine, but something was lacking in my knowledge. And I was very upset, very angry, because like everything was planned out. So I was hit this obstacle. Okay, how do I get over this obstacle? I'm just going to apply again next year. Sod it. So I applied again the following year and saw a different chap to the one I'd seen the previous year,
Yep.
Michael Burnett, who had been a journalist, a music journalist, and this is the middle class white guy. He'd spent time in Jamaica. I think his wife was Jamaican, I can't remember. But yeah, we sat down, had a chat, and he went through all my stuff. I did my audition, and he said, yeah, no problem. So I would say, I was in a few of his classes actually to do with Caribbean music. But yeah, I would say he was a big influence on me as well in terms of seeing someone from a slightly different culture to mine,
Yeah.
being upper middle class,
Yep.
but loose, you know, and laid back.
I like that.
um, yeah, very loose. Uh, yeah, so I just have fond memories of that and him and Roland and that period. It was tough because um, I wasn't working full time. Money was tight. I had a young family, but I was just so keen to learn music, and learn it well, so that I could um, what I don't know, so that I just to learn it well, so that when I came to start writing stuff, I knew I was working at the best level that I could be.
Yep.
That's one of the things I really admire about Quincy Jones is he was working at the top of his game every single time, you know. So yeah.
See, that's what I like when I hear these stories. It influences so many things within myself, and I'm sure for other people, and it inspires also, because you never know where life is gonna lead us and where we're gonna go. So
Yeah.
I wrote actually a few different type of questions for you, and I feel like they go more into the depth of you being a composer. So my first one is, when you sit down and you write music for a film, are you trying to serve the story, the character, or the emotions hiding underneath both? What would you say?
I would say all those things. um, I'm I'm serving the story. Okay, I'm going to go quite deep on this one. I think audiences are very, very sophisticated, and
Yes.
they know they can understand what a story is going to be or what it is within the first 10 minutes of watching it,
Yeah.
you know? So I try not to double down on what people are already seeing. I try to get to the truth of the story.
I like that.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's like if I'm writing music about Savia
Yes.
person, you know, obviously we can see Savia, we can hear your voice, we have a sense of what you might be like if you can't see it, you know, we hear your voice and vice versa. But for me to get to the essence of you, I would I would kind of delve into what your hopes, your fears are, how you grew up, how you were parented, what were your greatest joys, what were your greatest fears, all these sorts of things. Once I get some inkling, some understanding of that, then I'm looking to write your sound world, you know. So that's my approach. Um, I work a lot like an actor would. When
Yes.
an actor approaches a character,
Yeah.
they're looking to envelop this thing. So yeah, does that represent the story? Does it represent the the emotions? I guess so, not in an obvious way.
I like that. I like the method of how you said that. Have you ever composed a
Mm.
piece of music that felt like it understood the characters better than the script did? That's a good question,
Did I
actually.
ever score something? Let's repeat that.
So, have you ever composed a piece of music that you felt it understood the characters better than the script did?
Hmm, that's a very good question. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. There's very few times I'll read the script. I've read a few scripts, especially in the last this year. I've read quite a few scripts this year,
Yeah.
but I tend to be a bit wary of the script because sometimes when you read a script and then the thing is made and the actors bring something to the story, the
Yes.
location brings something else, the lighting does something else, the editing.
Yep.
And somehow, when I read the script, I'm already writing music in my head, And then when I see the thing, it's completely different to what I imagined it. So, okay, I have to expunge all of that and go into what this is. So that's why I'm a bit wary of scripts. But has music been any different to the script? Uh, Actually, yeah, I think so. I wouldn't say. What was the word that you used? Was it different or was it
I would say, but I said better, but we can also use a different
better?
way of articulating ourselves. Yeah, I
Right, let's
said
say
better,
let's
but
say
there's
let's say
so
more
many
more
different.
let's say more appropriate.
There you go.
I've just
Yeah.
finished. I've just finished a recently finished a short film called Street Shepherd, and it's about um, a trainee priest who has lost her way with the church. She's trying to help a young girl to get some accommodation, get her off the streets, get her out of a life of vice. There's a madam kind of hovering around her, waiting to steer her this way. But this priest is having trouble with the church. The church are very negative about what she's doing. They don't want her to bring these problems to the church's door. So there's there's a big there's a kerfuffle there, if you like. So when I read the script is beautiful actually, and it's written by a friend of mine, Melissa Wilson, who was a vicar herself, trainee vicar, um, and she's now left the church and become a writer director. So she's written this story,
Wow.
and I can't remember the actor's name. I can't remember his name, but he's one of the actors from EastEnders. Plays Max, I think, in EastEnders. He So she wrote the script, and the script is also really, really beautiful. And I had no idea how I was going to score it because, I always say if a story is working on all levels, it maybe doesn't need music, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
Music isn't given, So I said, okay, I tried not to think too much about what I was going to write musically, but um, she filmed it and it was edited, and when I saw the story, it's exactly like it was in the script. It was amazing. And it's like, oh my God, how am I gonna score this? What do I do? So normally I sit with a director and I'll ask lots of questions and what do you want and how is this? And I try to understand the director as well because it's their story, their thing. And yeah, I was just flummoxed. But luckily I had time, so I just would just think about it, you know, go about my day, do the dishes, whatever, go for a walk, whatever it was, and think about it. And um, it didn't really need much music, so I did a few small piano things here and there, but there was one scene where the um, the vicar has a confrontation with the trainee vicar has a confrontation with the priest, and he expels her from the church. And so she starts to go looking for the young girl that he's also thrown out of the church. Um, so this is probably this is the key scene. So I just wrote something appropriate for that, and towards it, maybe I should actually give this away, but towards the end there's another very very nice moment where one of the she sets up her own gathering, her own church, if you like, and one of the congregation stands up and sings this song. And so um, I did uh, an arrangement of this song. I won't say what it is just yet because it's in case still doing the rounds. But I did a gospel arrangement of this song, and bearing in mind I've only really just met Melissa. I didn't really know her too well. I wasn't sure with what I'd done would work for her. But her announcement came. Her husband recorded his vocal here, and I arranged everything around his voice. And I showed them the first version of what I'd done, and it was such a lovely moment. They were in tears.
Oh, see.
Yeah, they were in tears because it meant so much to them. And I guess it reflects some of her experiences.
Hmm.
Um, so that moments like that are really really nice. You know.
See, I love those moments. So, my next one. I like this question for me, but for you, what is the most invisible piece of music you have ever written? Something that no one noticed, but the scene couldn't live without it.
Oh gosh, I'm right asking the wrong person these questions. Um, the most invisible piece of music that I've written
Mm-hmm.
that no one didn't notice,
Mm-hmm.
that the scene couldn't do without.
Mm. Which is so important.
Hmm. Well, there's a piece of music in a documentary called Getting Away with Murders,
Mm.
um, and what's it called? Um, I can't remember what it's called now. but it's I think it's called Lithuania or something like that. And I worked with a couple of singers, also Lindstrom was one, and I kind of, used her voice and recorded her voice and um, kind of mixed it so that it gives a very ethereal
Yes, I understand it.
feeling, atmosphere, almost like ghost, but
Yeah.
but a loving ghost. And uh, I think that scene where it's a very, I think there's in the scene there's um, David, who's the director. He's interviewing a journalist whose mother and grandmother were were killed there during the Holocaust, and there's a drone shot, and I think with us looking down on everything else and then seeing some photographs of what these women had to go through. They were made to strip, um, run around. You have old women, you have young girls, 14, 15, naked running around before they're shot and pushed into a big pit pile of other bodies. So I think that scene is always quite haunting,
Wow.
you know.
That's a
Yeah,
powerful scene.
yeah. Yeah, that documentary is full of powerful things.
Yeah, it's a
Uh,
powerful scene.
yeah.
Wow.
So I would
What?
say that's
Yeah.
that's one. That's
Okay.
one.
What
Yeah.
is the best advice, Chris, you have ever received from someone that has helped you in your life?
The best advice. Hmm. Hmm. Just trying to think. Um, I would say that I collect quotes from lots of different people. Um, in terms of advice, I can't think of any one thing, but I tend to look at various people and look at how they did it and what they do and what they didn't do. Um, I would say some of the best advice that I've taken has come from Mr. Quincy Jones himself. You know, um, things he said about humility and working your ass off and
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
try make sure to learn as much as you can. There are 12 notes, and every single composer and musician has only had these 12 notes. So study everything. There's no there's no most growing up as a kid, teenager and what have you, we used to kind of follow just one type of music. So it'd be jazz, funk, reggae, blues, anything like rock or certain pop music, grunge. We weren't really into. Um, and then as I grew as a musician and began to start understanding music, I just began to embrace everything. So I think that's probably the one of the biggest lessons is that there's only two types of music: good music, and bad music,
Yes.
and not to limit out yourself to thinking that music belongs to this group of people, that music belongs to that group of people. So I'm not gonna listen to it. It doesn't interest me. I think all music has things to offer, so just open your mind to it. So that's probably the biggest lesson.
When was the last time that you felt totally at peace with yourself?
I'm always at peace with myself.
You seem pretty chilled out, to be fair. You do
Um,
seem pretty chilled out, to be fair.
there was a time when I was very tense, very what's the word? Not tense, but very driven, I would say.
Yes.
Very driven, and um, wouldn't really stop and look around me, look at the world. Um, and that's understandable because I always felt I started in music very late in life. I was already in my 20s before I began piano and any of that. So I always felt I was playing catch up. Um, but I think once I got to into a bit of maturity, I guess into my mid 30s, then I began to study spiritualism,
Yes.
different faiths,
Yep.
um, and kind of, try to understand what each faith was about and see what the similarities were. I mean, I was born into a Christian faith, but I guess I kind of reject that a little bit now. But um, I was, looking at all the similarities and the differences and what people believed and why and these sorts of things. And just came to the conclusion that life is more than we realize, and
Yes.
it's eternal, and we don't need to, well, I don't need to fret and fuss and be part of the rat race and all these things. I mean, obviously we have to think about life and like living and paying our bills and all these things, but I decided I wasn't going to be conditioned by that.
Yeah.
So what will be will be,
Yes, I
you
agree with
know.
you. I 100% I
So
agree with you. If there was one question that nobody has ever really asked you, Chris, what would that question be and why that you would like someone to ask you? I'm interested now because your face says so much.
what would be the question that I'd want someone to ask me?
So, what is the question people should or could ask you that nobody's ever really asked you that you would like them to ask you? What would it be and why?
It would probably be something like, what do I need to do to be happy?
I'm going to ask you that question now. What do you need to be
You're
happy?
asking me,
Yeah,
what
I'm
do I
asking.
need to be happy?
Yeah.
Um, Peace.
Mm.
Peace of mind. Peace of mind.
I'm thinking about it now because there's so many different ways of embracing peace, I've learnt. And there is peace of mind, there is peace of soul, there is peace in love, there is so many. And you said to me, peace of mind. So I'm going to ask a more deeper question when I say to you, what is stopping you from getting to that place of peace of mind?
Well, there's absolutely nothing stopping me. Anything that could stop me getting to a place of peace of mind is myself, is oneself.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the lives. I mean, I watched a film today actually about Lech Walesa.
Yeah.
Lech Walesa. He was the Polish electrician who um, this guy's an incredible man. He just fought for the rights of his peers and
Mm-hmm.
ended up becoming the first president, well, post-war of Poland. The things he had to go through, being
Oh,
harassed, his family being, and then you have Nelson Mandela, you know, spending so many years, over 30 years in prison.
yeah.
Um, how do these extraordinary people get through that? You know, when others, you know, kind of can't get through a day without, whatever it is, some minor thing.
Yeah.
So, maybe it's peace. Maybe it's peace of mind, strength of mind. One of the things that was said in the film, is, like one lesson film was when you're in prison, you have a lot of time to think.
Yes, you sure do.
You know, so it's peace of mind is almost forced on you.
That's
Do you
true.
see what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's
So
forced upon you. Yeah.
yeah, for me, when life gets stressful, it
Mm-hmm.
does get stressful quite often. I have tools in my back pocket, things I can do to bring myself back into balance.
I like that.
When there's a worry that's coming, I don't know what it is. It could be, maybe it's a bill or family member in hospital or whatever it is. If it's a concern, a worry, and I feel like I'm falling out of control of my peace of mind,
Mm-hmm.
I go to my toolkit. I know, okay, think about it this way. It's nothing. We can only control the things which we can control, and the
Yes.
things we can control is ourselves. So, yeah, I hope that answers the question. The only thing that can prevent me from having peace of mind is myself.
See, no, this is why I like going into those deep questions because they say so much and they hold so
Mm.
much power within them. So I've only got two more questions for you. My second to last question is for anybody who would want to go into film, because I'm sure in the world there's so many people who want to go into the world of music and film. What would your advice be to them to help uplift them and inspire them to know that we can all have a chance in what we want to do in our lives and to be ambitious? What would your advice be for them?
Okay, so it's a very challenging time
Mm-hmm.
for any of the arts, to be in any of the arts, whether it's film or music or painting or whatever it is. But I would say if it's what you really want to do, I would say do it without thinking about the future. I think, when I started as a musician,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go into music to be a musician or to be a well-known musician or to be a wealthy musician.
Yes.
I went into music to learn music, to make music because I love music. And even if I wasn't making a living from it, I would be doing music. So that's the first thing. Um, do it because you really love it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really love it, then it means every day you're winning. You're winning every single day.
I love that.
You're not doing it for any other reason. And then, the next thing I would say is, and this is probably a hard one because, some of these um, energies belong to people that we love, our loved ones. But I would say stay away from negative people.
Yes.
Anyone that's going to tell you or ask you, why are you doing that? And, this is that and that is that. You need to get away from those people because negativity will kill any goal you have
Mm-hmm.
before you can even get started, and it puts doubts in your mind. Energy has an impact on the body, on the soul, on the spirit, and as artists, I say artists are actually instruments themselves,
Yes.
and we need to look after the instrument, which is our bodies, our minds, especially our hearts, and all these things. So stay away from negative influences, people, and on the flip side to that, surround yourself with people who are positive. You bring positive energy, and can just keep your spirit in in a sense of love and creativity. So that's what I would say.
I think that's some of the best advice you can give to people. I think right now they need to hear that more than anything else. Believe me.
Absolutely, definitely time. Yeah. So before you go to sleep, watch some comedy before you go to sleep. That's another one. I learned that from a friend of mine, Frank. So
I like that idea.
watch some comedy. Yeah.
Because your mind is settled and it just goes to sleep in a really happy, ambient way. And
you go to bed laughing. So
yeah, you might even laugh in your sleep.
There you go.
So my last question for you, Chris, is before I have the beautiful chance to say thank you to you, I would love for you to be able to tell everyone where they can find you or where they can find out more information or see some of the work that you have done in your films. Please let us know where we can find you.
Okay, so you can reach me. My website is christopherbarnett.com. There you'll find all my social media, Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. My handle for LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, I think, is Christoph Barnett. So just Christopher without the ER, Christoph Barnett. So you can find me there. In terms of films, if you wanted to see any of the documentaries that I've done with David Wilkinson, you'll find them on Vimeo. So if you look for David Wilkinson, postcards from the 48%. Actually, he's just set up a YouTube channel. It's Guerrilla Films on YouTube, and I think it's Guerrilla Films or Guerrilla Dogs. But yeah, if you look for David Wilkinson, there's postcards from the 48%. I think Getting Away with Murders will be there. Eventually, the Marbles will be there, and the one I'm working on now, eventually, it's called 1 in 2. Maybe the next year or two that will be there. But yeah, that's probably a good place to start.
Well, Chris, this is my chance to say thank you so much for taking your time to come on the podcast, for you to be authentically yourself, for you to share with us that dreams do come true and family can invest in us to make us do what we love, even though sometimes we're like, no, I want to be outside with everybody else, but at the same time we find the value with it later on in our lives. So I want to say to you, Chris, thank you again for coming on the Ask People podcast, and you've been a brilliant guest. I appreciate you, and I know the guests themselves will appreciate you so much, so thank you.
Well, thank you, Savia. It's been a pleasure. It's gone really quickly as well.
It has. Yeah. It absolutely has. So guys, I want to say thank you so much for listening to the Ask People podcast, and please remember you can subscribe and leave us a review on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, or any other platform that you decide to listen to. You can also go on the Savia Rocks website and find out more about Ask People podcast, or you can just go to the Ask People podcast website and catch up on any episodes you haven't listened to, or start from the beginning, from season 1, and find an episode that resonates with you. And this is where I say thank you so much for listening. Stay happy, stay positive, and as always, please continue to be kind to one another. Take care.
I'ma get deeper. Tables are turning, world in reverse, political burning. Where is the love? Where is the hope? Where is the faith inside? It's been misplaced, power being misguided, manipulation used for both sides, unjustified violence. You living it up in your kingdom where you're using the misguided that wants to do.
We are good, Chris.
Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you. Yeah,
You're
lovely
welcome.
conversation. You asked some very interesting questions. the deepest questions I've ever had to answer.
Oh, that's that. Thank you for answering them.
So
Thank you.
you are a representative of you do what I do, but in your world, you go deep, and I go deep musically. So.
breathe when I see people dying on both sides. We need to do better. Shell shock, yeah, imagine that. Powers pretending they don't even have blood on their hands. Playing on both sides, you know what you did. Change the status quo, sins of your fathers. Ripple through time, we living it, breathing it. Kings and queens, mass destruction, digging mass graves, driven by the greed. You don't really care. Devil smile in my face. Your hidden agenda ain't really about peace. Your hidden agenda ain't really about love. How do you breathe and how do you sleep? I guess it's a lie you've been telling yourself.
The lies we see through the darkness and the blurry lines. I'm about to dive in deep. The wheels are spinning, globes in rewind, political ablaze. Where's compassion? Where's the love?